to another episode. And as you saw from the intro, the car is a little more done than what you're seeing here. What we're going to do now is in this video is pretty much take you through what it took to get to what you just saw. Now, in the previous video you saw how we did the whole front and all that, so we don't really need to go over any of that. My next problem I'm running into, and I didn't think through this, my brain had a cramp, okay? I did the frame rails coming up through to here, and then I was going to do something up into here. Well, when the rear end is in, and it's setting all the way to the floor, the mounts don't clear the frame. Because it curls here, it curls at the thing, at the center of the rear end, it curls out. So the bars, the pieces we cut for the rear end, won't clear when it sets all the way down. So the only thing I can really do now is I've got to get rid of this part right here. This has got to go away and go in to match this. So the bars can just come right up the side of it, just like that. Realistically, it's got to actually be inward a little bit because the head of the bolts really might just scuff it a little bit. So what I opted to do, I had to obviously get some more metal to do this, but I welded this 2x3 in back here. So it's all welded in back here, and this is in the trunk. So I'm gonna have to extend the upper part of the trunk and then drop it down to deal with this. We've already done all the measurements, it's gonna work fine. Now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna cut out this brace and this brace because it's not needed. We have braces on each side now. And then I'm going to mock in a piece up through here and cut the frame somewhere in here. I don't even know where it's going to be, wherever it pokes up through. And then we're going to take and connect a piece right here, bring it in, and tie this in, and then chunk this section of frame right out of the car. Just, we're basically connecting the front and back. So everything again is back to being level and plumb. Every direction, all the bars are level, plumb, every direction, so we're good. And then I put braces on the back so the car can't move. So now I'm going to chop him, chop him, chop him, chop him, and I'm going to start fabricating the pieces that connect these two. And once I get those welded in, I can chunk the frame out. And once that's done, we can officially work on getting the motor and transmission set back in it, or set in it. We haven't even done it once yet. Set in it, get the motor mount set, and the transmission mount set. So then I know what the degree is for the rear end. Once I know all those numbers, we can then at that point run the rear end in, hook the link bars up, set it in, set our painting angle on the opposite of what that's going to be, and then we can tack them braces in, pull the rear end back out, weld them up, and then work on getting all the airbag stuff back here to work. Now the front stuff is actually pretty simple. Zach has to redo the front end, and then we can get the whole front together. So that's a little bit different piece. You'll see that later in the video as we're bolting the front end on what we had to do to make all that work. So it is another hot afternoon here in the lovely state of Alabama. So I'm gonna turn my fans back on, and maybe what we'll do is we'll just set the camera up on the pod, like right over here somewhere, Zach, and I'll just start cutting all this stuff up and start getting all this in. We'll bring you in once this is all finished. Don't forget, like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. It's like $0 to do that. Just go hit the buttons. That'd be great. And share. If you like this kind of stuff, just share it. I mean, that'd be awesome. Okay, so I just turned the fan off for a minute because it's really hot in here. But I'm gonna show you what I've done and what I'm gonna finish filling in for you. And then after we finish this, I'm gonna sweep up and we're gonna start prepping for the rear end. So, as you can see, I've tied on the 2x3 right here. And I run it up and I tied it in there. So this side right here, I've already done it. See the big gusset I put in? So they're welded in, I gusseted everything in. Okay, but this is gonna allow that frame rail to run right straight back like this. Okay, and then I'm gonna come through right here and we're just gonna cut this off right here. And then I'm gonna weld that down through there, weld it across, and that'll be clean. And the only other thing I gotta do is I am gonna put a gusset right here off this back side, just a little gusset right here. So, and then that'll tie this in and everything should be good. And now you see the frame rails are all nice and straight. Actually, they're all straight all the way down through. So we've basically built an entire chassis. But I'm going to get that welded in, and then once that's finished, I can do the 2 quick gussets back here, and I'm ready to actually, we're prepping to set the motor in it. There's the engine right there. So we're going to get ready to set the engine in with the transmission and get the pinion angle, get that mount all made. And once I know, transmission angle, once I know that, I'll know the pinion angle. We'll put the car down on the ground and work this rear end in. So there's your update of what we've been up to. As you can see, we've made a little more progress. It's not stifling this morning, but it will be in a few hours. So we're going to do what we can get done and take it from there. You obviously saw us setting the motor in here, and we actually tried the headers that we bought. So these headers are for a 55 to 57 Chevy fender exit headers. So for big block, that changed everything too. They actually fit on the Camaro clip. Believe it or not, there's a little dimple in here. We might get it, but it'll be real close. So if you're gonna do a Camaro clip fender exit headers on like a 55 or whatever, it don't matter. These are real close. Probably have to move this pipe up. What we are concerned with on these headers is when it bags out, I don't know if there's gonna be enough clearance. So we may have to cut these off here and raise this whole part up to make that happen, which we knew. There's no, but these were like super duper cheap, cheaper than buying a kit. And I can just buy a couple elbows, I think, and we can cut them and move everything. So we're not gonna worry about that until the body's back on. But what we do care about is a few things. One, we want to make sure we got enough clearance here. Now I can cut this frame, but there is just enough. The motor is 1/2 inch offset to the right, which is standard for Camaro clips with big block mods. Okay. The big old monster 6-speed from American Powertrain. Oh yeah. Get with Drew. Call, get with Drew. He's the man.
We'll put his information in there.
Yeah, we'll put his information, but I'm telling you, the guys from American Powertrain, awesome. I mean, they're just great to work with. So, but this is a 6-speed from them. And as you can see, it all fits good. We did make our own mounts. You can tell, so Camaro technically would be in here. That's the stock location for Camaro. Obviously, we're not in stock location. So we just whipped this up out of some 1x2, bolted in, some flat plate. What we really care about now is where the motor's running. We want it to run downhill a little bit, so then we can run the pinion angle up a little bit to keep them vibrations going. So what we did is we actually took our little angle finder here and pulled the cap off and turned it on. It came right up against this. Now you gotta make sure when you're doing this, you're holding it flush. But if you hold it there, you can tell if it's there. And you know, we got 87.4, 4. I can't read it right now. I got it wrote down like 4. Okay. And we confirmed that in a couple other locations. So now we know that when we put the rear end in, we want that pinion facing uphill. Because you want one up, one down. So they're kind of like doing this number right here. You don't want to build a boat. You don't want a boat. That's what you don't want. You want like this, not like this. So now we got that number. We know where the rear end has to sit. We got all that. All this is prepped. Rear end's cut and clean. So what we need to do now is we just got to pull the motor and transmission back out, set them on the floor. And then we're gonna bring the car down to close to ride height to work, so we can kind of base our numbers off from that. So when we're cutting link bars, we can start setting all our other angles. We're at ride height, and then we can check it dumped and a little bit higher. But so far, we are pretty happy with everything. There's not a lot, you know, you're always gonna find a few things as you're building these, because it's totally custom. But overall, I think all of our planning and thinking is working out good. But I'm gonna turn the fans back on, and we're gonna pull the motor tranny back out of this thing, set them on the floor, and then we're gonna get the frame lowered down to frame height, which is actually the same blocks we built for the wagon. They're actually up a little bit high. It's probably about an inch higher than what we really want it, but it'll be fine. It'll actually be good for, you know, speed bumps and such. We're gonna get the rear end sled underneath, get a rough measurement on our link bars, get those made, get all that bolted together here. So then we can bring the rear end in and start squaring everything up. It'll be a little bit of a feat, but I think in a few hours, we should be able to have the rear end in. That's kind of the goal. Have the rear end in, and once we know that articulates, we'll work through getting bags set up right in here. Bag mounts and all that, and then we can test all the back, make sure all that works. Zach's slowly working on getting the front end pieces put together, and it won't be long, and once we get this welded together, put the frame welded up, paint it, we'll be doing the final assembly, because again, this is the Rustmobile. We're not going crazy, not spending much money, but we might as well paint the frame, make it, you know, look decent. Not that you're gonna see it up underneath the car, but at least protect what we have done. So we're getting there. Fan back on, because I'm starting to sweat. you guys saw we were making these bars. You saw how we were making all these. So what I've done now is I set my pinion angle here, and we pushed all this together. I put center line, you can see it's right here. Center line of the chassis is center line here. So now I measured everything apart, so everything runs true parallel. And then tack those brackets on. And the bars are up, they're actually not far off.
No, they're just barely running uphill.
Just barely running uphill.
Which is what the math showed in CAT.
So at pretty much right on. So I think we're good there. Now it's just a matter of really working through bag mounts, I guess. Okay, where did we leave off? I don't remember what part we were doing.
We're welding bag mounts on, I think.
I don't remember. We were doing something. And I apologize if we're not doing the best. I'm going to try to explain as we go. So the rear end is, everything's still tacked on the rear end. I cut the bag mounts down. Welded the upper mounts on, okay? And then we added this guy right here to keep the rear end straight, left and right. So currently, we set this thing level at neutral, so but halfway between on the ground and ride height, or just above ride height. So it actually pulls the rear end over a half of an inch. So we're gonna split the difference on that and go another quarter of an inch over, and that'll allow the rear end to move a quarter of an inch each side of center. So it'll be all the way back down, it'll be a quarter inch off from center, and it'll come back up, and then it'll go back over. So it'll be fine. So the other thing is our bags are 11.5 inches, and we have 10.5 inches right here. So we still got an inch of bag there, and then when we set it down, which we can do here in a minute, set it down, and you'll see we got 4 inches between here and here, and the minimum of the bag is 3.6. So we have just about a half of an inch extra on the down, and about another inch on the up. So we're right in the range, and honestly I think the car is a little high. I don't think we're gonna run it quite this high. This is just a good, this is where we're putting the wagon, so it's kind of a good spot. But everything's good, the pinion's not really moving much through the momentum of right here.
Like 0.2 degrees or
yeah,
something.
like 0.2. So that's all good. I mean, everything's stiff now, so you know the rear end, once these bushings wear a little bit, you know, she'll really come into her. I mean, we probably should have put Heims up here too, but I was just being cheap, and we can always come back and cut Heims in. That's just nice, because I'd be cutting them back in here, and I could cut Heims in. So if that's ever a problem, I can easily cut Heims in. We made up this mount here. I'm gonna weld these washers on just for a little extra, for the pinion mount, just for a little extra strength on that guy. We made him, and then I think that's it. Trying to see what else I gotta explain to you guys. I mean, that's pretty much it for a 4-link. I will set it on the ground here for you, just so you can kind of see what everything looks like when it's back in the down position. But after that, I think we're done. Ready?
Yep.
Whew. The rear end, it got heavy back here a little bit, I must say. But it is all on the ground, which is what we're after. Down. Okay, now we're down on the ground, and as you guys can see, we got 4 inches now. So we got plenty of clearance, and the rear end comes right down like it's supposed to, right between the frame rails. I mean, it does exactly what it's supposed to do. I mean, we're basically professionals at this point, I feel. Okay, Zach, what are we doing?
Testing.
What are we testing?
Everything back here.
Look at that. They fit in there. There you guys go. Compressed all the way. Nice looking. Okay. Hold on. Let me get back here. Let me get back here. So now you can give her the catch up. Go ahead. Sweetness. It's a little slower to come out because going through the Schrader valve, but it won't when it dumps out without that valve. But pretty epic. We're excited. So now I guess we got to pull the rear end out so I can flip the frame over and get everything welded up and get everything welded up on the rear end. Okay, so we talked about earlier that we had to do some clearancing for the bags in the front. So what I've had to do is I've had to torch out this section here. It's just these little lips. It's not much. It's just getting rid of that. Because when the bag goes in like this, okay, goes in like that on that mount. With that, it was literally just touching the edge. So when it does flatten out, it would have been catching that lip. So really all you gotta do is just trim that out, and then that's right where that goes. This bag actually goes just like, it goes back in. It's gonna go back in square. So then these kits come with a spacer that bolt up through where your shock is at. That's how this works. And the only thing that I see might be an issue is once I clear this out, see the sway bar bolts here and here through the frame. So I'm a little concerned about that. So what I'm actually gonna do is when I'm getting in here welding is I'm gonna clean this up a little bit and I'm gonna weld a steel plate in right here, the whole length. And then I'm gonna drill it. And since this is all open, what we'll do is we'll actually bolt the sway bar in before the airbags go in. We'll just bolt it and bolt it. And then once that's bolted and welded in with a piece of plate like this, I know that sway bar ain't gonna be able to move because we did up the sway bar size. So I am gonna do that. I'm gonna add that piece and we should be good. So while we got you flipped over, I'm almost done. I gotta weld in some pieces here. So like I said, I'm gonna do some connectors in here and fill it in, do all the boxing. This is the old X-frame that we welded in to the Camaro clip. And then this is the tail, which we cut off and obviously hooked all the rear chassis to our cross member. We might as well just go down through here and show you guys what we got going here. A couple supports in here, supports in here. This is the support for all this rear section. And then the new frame rail section in here. And you can see it's all welded up now. And the crossover, and then we got where our fuel cell will be sitting right here. So that's pretty much it. Pretty simple. Just been a lot of work, cotton grinding and etc. So, but I'm going to clean up just a little bit here. I'm going to weld those couple pieces on, and then Zach's going to get some cheek poking this thing and get this frame painted. Because we're done with the frame. The frame is done and can go get painted, and we can assemble all our parts. And then it's going to be body time. floors, rockers. Yay. Okay, Zach, what are we doing? Painting. Now this is our favorite stuff right here. This is the KBS right here. We use KBS because it's awesome. It's very much like pour, but this is more little man. You know what I mean? Less big company. So we love KBS. We use it for all our projects, and you should too. So as you can see, the frame is still upside down, and it has this white phosphoric look to it. That's because Zach there's like a two-step process where you clean it first, and then you put this blast stuff on it, and it basically etches all the metal. So, and they say you can paint right over it. I think we did on the 55, I'm pretty sure we did. He's getting ready to fire up his old paintbrush and be a Picasso. This should be a mess, I'm sure. But yeah, that's where we're at. Get the bottom painted, get it flipped over, and get the top painted, and we can start assembling the frame. So Picasso got the chassis painted, and it looks pretty darn good. I mean, there's a few spots where it's like glossy, not glossy. It's just the way that the metal does funny things. I mean, technically, we'll probably spray and top coat the stuff you see. Not that it matters. I mean, we're building a Rustmobile. So, I mean, we just wanted to make it so you could touch it and not be disgusting. So he's got the big sway bar in it. So it's got the, you know, QA1. Because we needed a sway bar. I didn't have one for Camaro, and the one that was in it was the size of a pinky, and we needed a little more bar than that for a big block. So now that Picasso's done painting, he's gonna start putting the bags up in it, and lower A-frames and stuff. So probably what we'll do is after he gets one side together and kind of has it figured out, we'll do a little recording of how he puts this side together. So we'll build that side first, and then we'll do this side together.
That's step number 1. Airline.
So you got the hose, and you run the hose down the A-frame, and that's the inside of your bag, and it's got a push connect that we hope is going to stay together.
Yes.
Yeah. So you just push connect that on there, really good and hard, right? You feel it go all the way down in. Double push. Yep. You happy with that? Pull it on it. Ain't going nowhere.
Nope.
So now we just pull the line up, and then we bring that up.
In this particular setup, the bolt goes forwards.
Okay.
That could change depending on your application. And drop your nut on the floor.
And we just tighten it up where the shot goes. And let me get down here and I'm gonna hold this for him. So that's it for that part. Now you gotta put the A-frame. You're gonna run the air hose.
Yeah.
Next.
Yeah. Run the air hose down the frame.
Okay. So he's gonna basically run that air hose down the frame to make it match like this. Just right down the frame. We got plenty of room there, and get it to the back. So go ahead, Zach. I'm gonna while you're running that, I'm just gonna kind of show them what I'm doing back here. I'm working on putting the rear end back in it. Now you obviously saw us work on the rear end earlier in this video, but now everything's just painted up nice and pretty, welded and painted. So, and I made the track bars red because basically red means fast. That's what I was told. That's what I'm going with. So Zach, you're gonna put the lower A-frame on.
Yes.
And then we're gonna make, hopefully the hole lines up. If not, we're gonna drill a new one, right?
Yes.
That's what the people want to see.
Is it?
Probably not. They probably don't want to see it at all, but you know, it is what it is. How'd I do? Actually went pretty good, Zach. Now you just got to put the upper on, the spindle on.
Yep.
And then we'll pack some wheel bearings and we put this upper on the ground before long.
Yep.
Well, we got the upper A-frame on, spindle on. Sorry we didn't record it. It really weren't exciting. Zach's getting ready to put the rotor on. Now we did opt for some new rotors. I understand there's some things that we have to, you know, put a few new parts on. I know we're trying to recycle as much as possible, but
brakes are important.
Brakes are important. There's a few things that really you don't want to skimp on.
Drive shafts.
Drive shafts.
Or U-joints.
Yeah, or U-joints. There's a few things you just have to, you know, you have to spend a little bit of money on. Now, you don't have to buy the most expensive stuff. Where did I get this stuff from? Rock Auto.
Rock Auto. And Summit Racing.
Yeah, I went to the bargain basement.
You go make, model, year,
Cheapest.
sort, price, lowest to highest.
Yeah, that's what we do. So that's that on there. Now we're gonna go dig out the, we're gonna set the preload and we're gonna dig out the brake calipers from the wagon that we pulled off, put those on. And I've got a couple sway bar links. And then we're about ready to set her on the ground, Zach.
Yep.
And actually see what this car is gonna do on the ground. Be the first time tonight. It's gonna be on the ground tonight.
Yes, it is.
So, pretty excited about that. So, we're gonna set preload on this, and
We got the steering
we'll
too.
be back. Oh yeah, and the steering's done too. You see that? That box right there? That identifies as a red head. Yep, sure does. Steering, all rebuilt.
The only
Recycled as much as we
original
can.
be the
Yeah.
center one.
But yeah, it's all good. Now I know we were trying to reuse the same spindles, but with this setup we had to go to drop spindles. So we ended up having to, but I just bought the cheapest ones I could literally find.
They were on Summit. They were a pair for what, like
80 bucks or something like that.
something like that. They were cheap.
So, and Zach also needs to tighten up them two nuts right there on that lower A-frame. But
Yes.
yeah, we're close. We're close, guys. Here we are, back again. I know we've been jumping around a lot in this video, but the idea was to try to get everything assembled, and we've been working in between the heat and the darkness and the fans and just everything. But anyways, we are excited to say this thing is a roller again. We are finally back to a roller. Now it's sitting pretty nice right now. You saw us put all that together. We reused as much stuff as we could, including even the calipers came off from the wagon. We do gotta do a little shimming to make them work, but you know, nothing I can't modify to make work. Same upper A-frames as that was on this clip. Lower A-frames, we just put ball joints in it and bushings. We did put a QA1 sway bar in it only because we needed one, and it all clears. So as you can see, it's pretty much dumped out right here. It's almost on the ground. The problem is there's no weight but the frame on it. But when it's down, it's about that close to the ground. Right there, just enough room for the oil pan. It's kind of what we're after. And so she pretty much drags frame. And honestly, probably where the tires are a little squatted, it's probably gonna, I'm actually probably gonna put a couple 1-inch cups so when it does set down, we know we're good. But this is the front. I mean, here it is, the Camaro clip welded into the 58 chassis. It all came out good. Transmission mount just bolts in and out. I do got to drill the hole once we line the engine up. Into the back, which uses a 77 Lincoln rear end, which is the right width. Already disc brakes because they come disc brakes back in 77 on this thing. So we didn't have to do any of that. You saw us, we made all the mounts, we made all the brackets. Now, you know, I did paint them red because red means fast. We want fast, right? Zach, fast. Go time. The back is sitting right here. Well, if I stand on it, it's sitting right on this bottom link bar right here, which is about 1 inch below the frame on purpose. So, so it bags all the way out. The fuel cell that'll be sitting here will be just high enough for the sump to come around. So everything clears all the way down. We're good, no issues. Now it's just a matter of really getting the body back on it. Once I get the body mounts fixed, get all the floors cut out, and then get the body on it and start putting it together. But we're excited because we officially have a roller. This has been kind of our goal, is to get to this thing to be a roller. And I'm like super excited because I've never done a bag system before. But it came out good. We obviously got to do, you know, some shims and stuff for camber and caster and all that other crap. That'll all be in time. We'll work on getting all the brakes to work in time. But really it's just getting the car, you know, so it rolls. And it rolls. Look at that. We're back to roller again. It was nice without the weight. It still rolls. Now we do got to work through shocks still. I have no idea how I'm gonna make shocks work on this thing yet. No, I don't. I really don't. But we're gonna take some measurements and work through shocks, and that'll be about it for the chassis. So let me show you. We just did a temporary. We're obviously gonna have a system to blow it out, but right now we have the old automatic, you know, automatic 2000, or maybe this is the 1500. I think this is the 1500. But so we got the fronts and you got the rears. So we'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and give you guys the whole, you know, rear setup up. Right there. And then the fronts. And so with it up, we have a 9-inch frame height, level, 9 inches. When it's down all the way, we're about 1 inch with no weight on it. So it's level all the way down, all the way up, which is what we were after, trying to keep it as level as we could, all the way up, all the way down. Obviously, this thing ain't gonna run 9 inches off the ground. It's gonna run probably about 6 inches off the ground. So that gives us some adjustability for that. And that's about it. So I'm gonna let Zach go stand in the front. I'll dump it out one more time for you guys, and then we're gonna be pushing this thing out because we're gonna be bringing the body in, and you're not gonna wanna miss that episode because I'll be chopping the floors out, chopping the bracings out, chopping the trunk out, and building a skeleton so we can get the body, get back on this chassis as soon as we can. So hopefully within the next, well, I gotta go to work here in another week somewhere, so I probably won't get the body on that week, but as soon as we get back, I'll, for my big vacation, I hope to have the body on this thing. That's the goal. So, Zach, you wanna go to the front? And I'll, so you stand right in the front and we'll just dump it out. You good?
Yep.
So with that, guys, I want to say thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Peace out.